Welcome back to Geometry Classroom. Today we'll talk about arc length of a circle and the area of sector of a circle. We have a few objectives. In this lesson, we'll define and identify the arc length of a circle, and also we'll apply the formula of arc length to find the length of an arc of a circle. Also, we define, yes, and identify the sector of a circle, and we'll apply the formula for area of a sector of a circle to find that area. Now, let's start with arc length of a circle. Now, what is an arc length? An arc length of a circle is a portion, right, of the circumference of the circle, right? So the arc length of an arc of a circle is the product of the ratio between the measure of the angle intercepted by the radii of the circle, right, measured in degrees, and 360 degrees, and the circumference of the circle, right? For example, the arc length L, right, which is this portion of the circumference, is given by the ratio of the angle intercepted by the radii of the circle, right? These two radii. Remember, as we can see, these two radii intercept the circle at these 2 points, right? The arc length is the portion on the circle that is between these two endpoints, right? And n, which is the measure of the angle, right, is this angle, right? Yeah. In fact, n is the measure of the central angle, right? Yes. Over 360 degrees, right? Times, if you like, you can put a dot instead of x to avoid any confusion, times the circumference of the circle. Yes? So from now on, whenever you have to find the arc length of a circle or a portion of the circumference of the circle, you identify the measure of the central angle, right, intercepted by the radii of the circle. Yes, you divide this measure of the central angle by 360, and then you multiply this ratio by the circumference of the circle. Now, let's have an example. Find the arc length of arc AB, right? So, in other words, the length of this arc. Let's say L. So, in this case, we know the central angle, right, of the radii, right? Let's say OA and OB, which is 120 degrees, right? In other words, n equals 120 degrees, right? N. We know the radius. Radius is 6 centimeters. All we need to do is to apply the formula. You plug in it. So, length of arc AB, right, let's say, remember the notation for arc length is this symbol, right? Equals, we write fraction line. On top, you'll write 120 degrees over 360 degrees times 2 times pi times r is 6 equals. Now, we can rewrite this product as one fraction. So you're going to have 120 degrees times 2 times pi times 6 over 360 degrees, right? So let's use calculator to estimate this fraction. Again, we press Control and divide. On top, you type 120 times 2 times, here is the button for pi, you select pi, times 6, in the bottom 360. And then you press Control and Enter, and you'll get 12.56. If you round to the nearest tenth, you can round up to 12.6, right? So let's go back to our slide. So the length of AB would be 12.6, right? Again, don't forget the unit, because is a length would be simply the unit, right? We don't have square units because this is a length, is not an area, yeah? So would be 12.6 centimeters. Yes, so from now on, whenever you have to find the arc length of a circle, you find the central angle, right, given by the intersection of the radii, right, and the circumference of the circle, and apply this formula. Now let's talk about sector of a circle. Now, what is a sector of a circle? A sector of a circle is a region bounded by an arc of the circle, right, like this one, and the two radii of the arc's endpoints, right? So this arc, right, has two endpoints, right? For each endpoint, there is a radius, right? Right? So the region bounded by this arc length and the radii of its endpoint is called sector of the circle, right? This is a portion of the circle. Yes. We name a sector using one arc endpoint, the center of the circle, right? And the other arc endpoint, right? So we can say sector AOB, right? Good. The area of a sector of a circle, right, is the product of the ratio between the measure of central angle in degrees and 360 and the area of the circle. Why? Because the area of this sector is a portion of the area of the whole circle. So we can say area of sector would be the ratio of the measure of the central angle, right? And 360. And multiplied by the area of the circle, which is pi times r squared. Yes? Now, let's have an example. Find the area of the shaded region. In other words, the area of the sector of the circle. That's the sector of the circle we are looking for, right? Yes, remember? The sector of a circle is the region bounded by the arc length and the radii that are associated to its endpoints. Good. Now, in this case, we need to find the measure of the central angle, which is this one. Yes, this is n, right? Now, as we can see, 285 is this angle, right? 285 is the exterior angle, right? Now, to find the measure of n, right? What we have to do? We know the measure of the full circle, right? The measure of the angle of a full circle is 360 degrees. To find the measure of n, we have to subtract from 360, which is the measure of a full circle, and 285, right? So we can say n would be 360 degrees minus 285 degrees, right? So after subtraction, we get n equals 75 degrees, right? So that's the measure of the central angle, right, of this sector of the circle. Now, what else is given? Is given the radius. The radius is 8 centimeters, right? So we have everything we need to find the area of the sector of the circle. So we can say here area of the sector would be fraction line. On top, we write 75 degrees. In the bottom, 360 degrees. Then times pi times, and we square 8. Good. So we rewrite, let's say, area of the sector as one fraction by putting this product on top. Yeah, would be 75 times pi times 8 squared over 360. Let's find the area of the sector. We use calculator. So we click on Control and divide. On top, we type 75 times here pi, we select pi, times 8 squared, in the bottom 360. And then we press enter. And we got this number. Yeah. Again, we can round to the nearest tenth. You're going to have 41.9. Yes? So, area of the sector is 41.9. Now again, the unit, because its area would be square unit, which is squared centimeters. Yes? This is how we calculate the area of a sector of a circle, or area of a portion of a circle. Good. That is all we have for today. Thank you for watching my video.